Well, folks, I hope this is going to be a kind of a start of a big long series of fly time videos that I'm hoping everybody will enjoy and will want to see more and more and request to see more and more. In the past, our fly time videos have not done well, so please watch them again, share them, talk your buddies into watching them. Because when we put a video up, it kills our algorithms with the YouTube channel, so we really don't get rewarded much through YouTube because of the lack of traffic that we get on our videos. However, the folks that do watch them, you that watch them, we get a lot of feedback within that small core group of people, so that's always encouraging, but we need to expand that. So please, if you haven't hit that like button, please do, and add to it, and also leave some comments down. And we're always going to be asking you and to say, hey, I'd like to see this fly tied. You know, if we get to it, not great, because a lot of our what we're going to tie comes from people asking. I know this winter we're going to be doing a bunch of winter steelhead flies, spring steelhead flies, maybe some salmon flies. Where I also intend to do a bunch of trout flies. There's a whole bunch of fly patterns that my father-in-law has devised that we use in the fly shop when he had the shop, that like his burnt wings and stuff like that, and nymph patterns that I want to eventually do as we get closer to trout fishing time. So there's a whole series there, but I do need you to give us feedback on the comments, tell us what you'd like to see, and just hit that and share it to your friends. Get it out amongst your fly tying community so that we won't get killed in the algorithms, and it encourages us to keep doing it. You know, you're going to see, I might even do this mega prints again. I did it once, it got lost in the pile. I might redo that one. This is definitely one that's going to be shown. Yeah, so there's a whole variety of stuff that's going to be coming up, and as I go through as I'm tying flies, I'm going to be videoing the different patterns I'm working on just to get that out. So once again, please give us the feedback and just share it out amongst your fly time buddies, and let's kind of blow these videos up a little bit. And as time goes on, hopefully I'll do a better job of presenting them. A lot of times I got to self-video these things. But anyways, I hope you enjoy them. Please give me feedback on the video, and if it's helpful or if you'd like me to present it something a little bit different, this channel is meant for you, so I like your feedback. I hope you enjoy the fly tying series. This fly is, I usually refer to it as the Flashback stone. However, to keep it separate from probably about 50 other Flashback stonefly patterns, we call it Jay's Flashback stone. This is a fly pattern that kind of evolved on Salmon River and Oak Orchard River and some of the tributaries as a stonefly. Usually get into midwinter, early spring, these rivers and creeks are just saturated with a winter stone. And this is kind of basically a jazzed up, blinged up version of that. You know, it's got a lot of flash and bling to it. And one of my jokes is steelhead are like bikers, they like their bling. So this is one of the reasons why it's kind of flashed up. But it's been a proven pattern over the years. This is the first time I'm actually tying this on video. But it's been a proven winter steelhead stonefly that's kind of evolved on the Great Lakes tributaries. So let's get tying it. Okay, the material list for our beloved Flashback stone probably ain't gonna focus too well at this point, but we'll fix that. Anyway, starting out, the material list for this is the hook is 1120 Daiichi size 8. However, I do tie these in 10s and 6s, but I generally use this Daiichi 1120. That's the hook. The body material is this vinyl medium olive V-rib. It's a little, even though it looks a little light in color, trust me, it darkens up when you tie. The dubbing is, I like the, get it right side up so you can see it, is a UV black. I do like the UV dubbings and the black, but you could also use like Peacock or a lot of, you just want something dark and buggy for the thorax. Wingcase obviously is this Pearl Mylar, some Peacock Hurl, obviously some right in here is Goose Biot, some black, copper wire, and of course I use a 1/8 bead with the hook. Alright, let's get after this fly. I already grab up a hook here. I've already put the bead on, so we got the 1/8 bead on. I'm using your favorite 8/0 black fly tie-in, not 8/0, 6/0 black fly tie-in thread. I've used 8/0, but whatever you're comfortable with works. I just like black. Alright, now when I tie in the fly in this curved shank hook at this 1120, I kind of go down just above the barb a little bit and make a little bit of a bump. That's going to help me lock the goose biots in, because I'm going to put the goose biots in first. Now I'm going to come off the back part of this biot here, because this is where the biots themselves, get the camera focused, yeah, it's a little better. Where the back of the biot's going to be the longest and the fattest, and I like the longer, fatter biots for the tail. So we'll nip 2 off in there, and we'll just mount the tails on. I used a bump to kind of hold it in place, and I just tie them in a cross section. There's all sorts of fancy ways to do it. This is how I do it. I just kind of cross them over, tie them in, use that little bump to kind of knock them and lock them in place. And then come up there, and I do put an underbody of black thread and biot in there, because the V-rib is a little bit lighter than what I like, but it's translucent, so it'll pick up the darker color of the underbody. At this point, I got to find some copper wire, and I did have some copper wire floating around here. Here we go. And I run the copper wire in the length of the hook shank. As you notice, I'm tying everything length of the shank. If you tie everything in on the bottom end there, your flies end up with a disease I call lumpy butt. You get a big fat gob in the back of the fly, and it just doesn't look right. Next, what I'm going to do is round up my V-rib. And this V-rib is flat on one side and curved on the other side. So what I like to do is try to identify the flat side and put the curved side to the fly, to the hook shank the best I can, and the flat side to me the best I can. It does roll a little bit. You got to play with it a little. And here again, I tie the length of the hook shank. At this point, we just butt wrap it, and if I turn it right, the curved side goes up, and we end up, as I wind it, a nice ribby segmented body look with hills and valleys. I go up 3/4 of the way of the fly, make sure that's tied in. Anchor it in really good, especially up in here, because it is a plastic material and it stretches, and it can actually pull itself out if you tie it down too tight, but also make sure it's secure. Get my rib. Now what I do with my rib, like I said, I got hills and valleys, so the rib just falls into the valley and just enhances the segment look of the body of the fly. Get up, there we are, clean it up. Now sometimes with these curved shanks I kind of reset in by my vise so it's a little easier. Now what I'm going to do with the thread, I'm going to come back about halfway down the body. Now at this point you can see I'm halfway. I'm going to make a note about tying nymphs. It doesn't matter on this fly or any nymph. Proportions state 2/3, 1/3, 2/3 abdomen, 1/3 thorax. But if you tie 2/3, 1/3, it always comes out 3/4, 1/4. But if you tie for 50%, half thorax, half body, when you get done, it just magically through the laws of nymph time physics comes out 2/3, 1/3. So that's just a little tip on getting your nymph proportions right. Now what I did with this Mylar sheeting is I cut a little strip off of it. Here's my strip. You can barely see it on the camera. There we go. Yeah, there it is. It's about 3/8 of an inch, or a real fat 1/4 inch. And I'll come in on my side and I'll just kind of roll it over the body. And I'm tying up on the body. Now the reason why I tie it back up onto the body, once again, if you stop and then you tie in onto the hook shank, you don't get a nice fat wingcase. So you want to actually tie the back of your wingcase onto the body of the thorax to tie the abdomen. That gives you a much better wingcase. Now I don't have any getting out, so I got to run up some of the dubbing. Once again, this UV stuff, black dubbing stuff. Now this is a synthetic, so I'll get some out of the bag here. It's not the most easiest stuff to work with. It's kind of like almost like dubbing straw. Get it in the camera here so you can see it. But in this case, I don't want a neat dubbing job. So as you can tell, it's pretty sloppy. It's just kind of wadded on. You can always use a little bit more than you need. And then what we're going to do is just put it in a giant pea-sized gob. Just like that. Nothing, just real ugly. Bring your wing case over. I just kind of take my fingers, get that back over the top, wiggle it down. Whoops. A couple of turns to anchor the wing case. Cut it off. Then I'm going to secure that in good. Right behind the bead. Take my thumb, sometimes pack it down a little bit. Now, this fly has Goose Biot horns. What I like to do is go up on the front of the segment of Biot here, because the front end's a little longer and thinner, and it makes kind of neat little wings slash horns slash reverse antennas. Once again, I'll tie them in the cross section. And I'll just put them in one at a time. And sometimes you gotta kind of fiddle around and manhandle them. I always say with fly tie materials, you're bigger than it is. Just put it where you want it. Get in here, nip off the little extras, and secure it. Now you got this gap right in here. And what I've always liked to do is just use a piece of Peacock Hurl. Come in here. And I'll nip back the thin part and get into some meat. Catch that. And you just need 3 or 4, 6 turns, whatever works. And you just create a Peacock Hurl collar. And that'll kind of hide all the sins of your head there. Get my fingernails in there, pinch it back, get it behind the bead. Come in with a turn 1, 2, 3. That should hold it in place. Get rid of the tag. Pull it out. Handy whip finish tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should hold it in place. Now a little trick, since you're working with the bead, if you get in here with a fingernail while you're pulling on your thread, you can pull that whole whip finish behind the bead, and that'll protect the thread, and I just don't have them come apart. Next little trick is just kind of come in with your finger, with the tip of your scissors, and just pluck out the edges here, and that just kind of gives it the hint of legs. The nice thing about that is if you put too much dubbing in, at this point you can kind of collect it and pull it out. And there we go, that Flashback Stonefly. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer, we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.